turf wars, power struggles, all these different things. I call this stuff the smoke because it never goes away. And I've noticed that most of us spend so much time fighting in the smoke that we never deal with the real issue. I believe there are real issues that are causing this. The real issues are the things that are really causing why you're upset and frustrated. And I have a feeling that most of the time when you communicate with the people that you're over and that you work with, they have the same smoke. They have the same deep issues, but none of us are talking about the deep issue. We're all talking about the smoke. And there's one person I found that loves smoke, and they're magicians. Why would a magician love to hang out around smoke? We can hide. I think most people would much rather talk about how the company's messing them over with turf wars or whatever, or fight with another department, than get down to the real issue and talk about the real issues, okay? I believe there are 7 basic needs that need to be met in any relationship. If you want an authentic relationship, you need to meet 7 needs. These are 7 needs with every employee in your department. These are the same 7 needs with your partner, with your husband, with your friends, with your kids, with your in-laws. We all have 7 basic needs, okay? Go back to the overhead and we'll show you the 7 basic needs. They spell, by the way, starved. And what I found is that most people are just starving to death. We've all got some basic needs. The first need in any relationship is safety. You want to be with someone long term, you've got to feel safe. When all of a sudden benefits start to get kicked out, or pay starts to get kicked out, or you start outsourcing jobs, my safety becomes an issue, doesn't it? And that's the fire. But what we end up fighting about is outsourcing, where we should be talking about safety. And maybe there's a paradigm that you are not going to always be safe. I don't know. You guys need to have the conversation. But if the reality of what I found is couples, for example, fight all day long about safety, don't they? Money. I had a couple come in, fight about money. That's exactly the story. She came in, she had just bought a $400 handbag. Guess what he says? Nobody needs a $400 bag. That's such a waste of money. She says, how much was your golf bag? He's like, what does that have to do with anything? You just said nobody needs a $400 bag. How much was your golf bag? Well, $370 something-ish. Well, so 400? No, 375. Well, if you round it up, it's 400. Well, we're not rounding. So notice where they've gone in one conversation. Her bag, his golf bag, rounding. He then says, I put $1,500 worth of clubs in that bag. That's why I needed a bit more expensive bag. Clubs. Duh. And she then says, you always did love golfing more than me. Now we're talking about love. Then she goes, she's all smart. Well, I put $15,000 worth of credit cards in my bag. Now, credit cards. He says, I thought the debt was only $12,000. She goes, I'm just rounding. I thought we weren't rounding. Now, what are they fighting about? Notice where that one conversation turned into a ton of smoke. Why would they do that? Is it because they're stupid? They don't know how to deal with the issue. They have no clue how to get down to the real issue. Because I'm going to bet you it has nothing to do with purses. I'm going to bet it has a lot to do with safety. Because I don't feel safe with somebody that spends $400 on a purse when we only make $40 a week. Big deal. Or now, check this out. Safety can be a variety of things. Safety can be emotional safety, so I don't feel safe with you emotionally. It can be social safety because I feel embarrassed with you publicly. Some people don't even care. They just want you to talk, to show that you're at least hearing them. When I walk home, this is literally what my wife will say. Oh, what a day. She'll say it's that comment. We have 6 kids. Tell me about it. So my wife's like, oh, what a day. And I'm like, get a babysitter. Becca, we need security. Can I have someone escort her out? She's talking smack now. When I say, honey, get a babysitter, what am I saying? I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about it. Let me fix it. Shut that thing under your nose that wiggles. And I'm going to fix your problem. And remember the earlier quote? I don't care how much you know, Matt, till I know how much you care. So before you try to fix someone's problems, get into them. Understand them. Validate. That sounds hard. That sounds incredibly difficult. Then see if you can fix it. If you can't fix it, by the way, I'd always leave it up to them. So what do you think I could do for you about that? Well, could you give me a $5 raise? If you know you can't, I'd say, you know what, right now times are tough. And I'm not sure I can. If you want, I'll go check. And I'm not sure I can. Maybe we can create a win-win where we can move you to a better place financially. But we're going to need some things out of you, and then create a win-win agreement. But I wouldn't negate the conversation. I wouldn't not have it. Long-term relationships require safety. I didn't invent that idea. Can you all predict how you're going to feel in a company where you're not safe? You want some loyalty from the company, okay? The next one is trust. Long-term relationships require trust. Again, I didn't invent that idea. Trust it's a key part of all long-term relationships. If I can't trust you, how will we relate? What do you tell someone you don't trust? Nothing. What do you do with someone you don't trust? What feedback do you give a boss you don't trust? If we don't trust each other in our department, what are we going to tell each other? How much synergy are we going to create as a company if we can't even trust each other? Huge issue in long-term relationships. The third thing is appreciation. A stands for appreciation. Long-term relationships require that we feel appreciated. If you don't feel appreciated by your department, you're going to start to have issues about diverging goals, about promotions of others. If you don't get promoted, but you were supposed to be promoted, you thought, you might not feel appreciated. We can fight all day about the promotion, but it's probably about appreciation. Remember when I got promoted by my boss? I got promoted to where I wanted to be. Everyone wants to be appreciated differently. If you want to get into an authentic relationship, I would start worrying about how they want to be promoted or how they want to be dealt with. So safety, trust, appreciation. R stands for respect. Long-term relationships require that we respect one another. Do you feel respected in the company? Respect is simply, do you feel like people care enough to ask you your opinion? Do they look for your opinion before they do something? Do they actually inquire a little bit? Okay? R stands for respect. V stands for validation. How many of you would love to be validated more in this company? And what does it mean to be validated? Validation is a simple concept where your idea and my idea can both be great, even if they're different. The minute you want to just rip someone's head off, stop and think, how do I understand them first? So I get power with them. Then I can influence them later. That's validation. Safety, trust, appreciation, respect, validation. E stands for encouragement. How many of you just would love to be more encouraged in what you do? How many of you would love to have somebody say, go with it? You'll do great. Encouragement comes from the root word, the word courage is in it. And courage comes from the French word coeur, which means what? Heart. In order to encourage someone, you must be in their heart. What do they want? E stands for encouragement. Last but not least is dedication. If you want to be in a long-term relationship, you've got to feel dedication. You've got to feel people are dedicated to you. And what I found is there's nothing more powerful than knowing your bosses are dedicated to you. That's all we need in one of your meetings. And you know what? I honestly believe your best answers are already in your meetings. You just don't know how to get them out. And you got people holding back because they're starved.